Hi, let's talk about creating APIs. I'm currently in the in-house cloud console. To navigate to the API hub, all I need to do is click on the API hub tab. I currently have a couple of APIs. To create a new one, all I need to do is click on the create API button. I need to provide a name. In this case, I'm just going to say hello world. I'm just going to give it a description. This is helpful for searching for API resources and just for letting everyone know what this API is all about. So with APIs, you get to pick a path. You get to define how the URL, of the API is going to look like. And for this one, I'm just going to say hello world. This means that all the endpoints are going to have hello world as the sub URL path. You're going to see what I mean when we create endpoints. At this point, I am going to save. So I do have my API. Now there's a couple of things to note. As you can see here, this API is currently not exposed to the public. There are a few states of an API. It could be either public or private. We're going to jump into this in some more detail in a different video. But now let's focus our attention on endpoints. So we have our API, we need some endpoints that we can actually communicate with. To create an endpoint, I just navigated to the endpoints tab. I'm going to click on the add button. You can select the method you want. In this case, we're just going to use the get method. I'm going to give it a slug. I'm going to call this slug hello. That's it. So now I have a URL. I have an endpoint with three environments. So on this platform, everything is segmented into three environments: web apps, APIs, automations, databases, secret keys, and on and on and on. And there's many reasons why we have a multi-environment workflow, because you have to, software doesn't just go into production, right? So there's all kinds of considerations. You have to develop software, you have to test it, and then you move it to production. So as you can see here, we already have the URLs or the domains for all our environments already set up. Now, there's a couple of things you will see in this page. You see the option to add parameters. You see the option to add query strings, right? You see the option to add the function that you want to execute. And so these are documentation options. So if you wanted to add some details, some sample request bodies, sample success messages, sample fail responses, all for the documentation piece, and the ability to add security policies. So there's so many things going on here, but we're not going to focus too much on that in this video. What we're going to do is that we're going to go ahead and connect a function to this API. So I'm going to click on that tab. I already have a function called hello world. It only does one thing. It returns hello world. That's it. So I'm going to go ahead and select this function. We're going to save. Then I'm going to go over to the configuration tab. So you're going to notice a few things going on here. I have an active version. I've saved two times. I saved when I created the API, and I saved when I added the function to the endpoint. So I have two active versions. As you can see here, I can switch back to any version at any time and make that version active. And I have three environments: the development environment, test, and production. And currently, there's nothing deployed to any of the environments. So what I'm going to do here is that I'm going to deploy my current version. I'm going to deploy it to the development environment. Click on deploy, and that's it. It's instant. This API has been deployed to the development environment. If I were to go over to my endpoint, get that URL, copy it, open up Postman, and ping it. All right, so it says not authorized private API. Great. So the API does exist. It's not public. Like I said earlier, we're going to talk about public and private APIs in a different video. Or I'm going to make this API public. I'm going to save. I'm going to go back to configuration. Now we're in version 3. I am going to deploy this version 3 to development. Once again, instantly deployed. I'm going to go back to Postman, ping, and there you have it. Hello world. All right, so let's do one more thing. I'm going to go back to my endpoint. I'm going to add parameters. Okay. And I am going to say, I'm going to add a parameter of name. I'm going to say this is the name greet. There you have it. I have a variable parameter. I'm going to save this. I am going to go to the configuration. I'm going to deploy to the development environment. All right, so we're going to do something with that new parameter. I'm going to jump into the function builder. I'm going to locate the hello world function. So we do have route parameters as one of the system generated parameters. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to change this response. So it's pretty simple. I'm just going to remove the world. I'm going to add a step. There's going to be a regular string concatenation. Put a space here. And finally, I am going to reference that parameter. It's route parameters. And the parameter, I believe, is name. Okay. So I'm going to save this function. I'm going to go to the config. I'm going to deploy. So whenever you deploy a function, every single resource that's attached to that function automatically gets redeployed. So if you have the function connected to an application, that application gets automatically redeployed. If you have a function that is attached to an API, that API gets automatically redeployed as soon as the function itself is deployed. That way, everything is always in sync. So I'm going to pull up Postman. I'm going to ping that API again and value URL. All right, so I'm going to say, put in the name, ping it, and there you have it. Hello, Sam. If we were to go back to my function, just go over here, make this a space. So trying to create some space in between, deploy. This is just to demonstrate the fact that when you make a change, the API does indeed get updated. Ping it again. There you have it. You see the space now between hello and Sam. All right. So this has been a really, really quick demo of how to create an API. We've basically seen how to deploy this API. We have a hint that APIs can be public or private. We haven't gotten too into it. We know how we can design our APIs, or I guess name our APIs uh, to make sense, to give it some meaning, and to give it some context. We know how to add parameters, route parameters to APIs. We've seen how to attach functions to an API. We know that when we update our functions, our APIs get automatically redeployed. We've seen a few things that we probably do not understand at the moment with regards to perhaps the documentation piece, security policies. We will get to that in a separate video. We understand that APIs and every single resource are exist in multiple environments. In previous videos, and I will reinstate in this video, that each environment consumes environment specific resources such as databases, keys, etc. All right, with that, I'll end this video and I'll see you in the next video.